Dude, I absolutely do not have the free time to.
Yes, so the important thing is I offered it.
That's true.
That's the important thing to me, anyway.
So Greg got a copy of Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes early.
Yay!
I guess that's a... This is really early, too, isn't it? When's that game come out?
20 days.
Why would they send it that early?
I don't know. I'm not asking questions.
I guess that's a perk of being a Kickstarter backer. So you got the Steelbook and everything, too, or...?
Oh, no, I got a digital code.
Oh, okay.
I got, like, a review copy.
Alright. I thought they sent you the disc. I was like, that's fucking...
No, we still have that coming.
Oh,
You and I both got a physical copy from backing this game way back in the day. And if I remember right, you gave me a portion of whatever guide money that you earned to secure that. I forget what game it was that you paid that came from. It's been
Fire
what,
Emblem.
4 years?
No, Fire Emblem. It was from Fire Emblem. I think it's been longer than that. Yep. Fire Emblem 3 Houses. We split that shit right down the middle because dude bailed. I think it was like $1,100 each. That's a good guide, though.
You did more on that guide than I did. Was this my way of paying you back for splitting?
Oh, well, you'd have to search your own mind for that, but that's what I think.
Dude, I can't remember a goddamn thing. You kidding me?
So that's cool. That's coming out, I guess, what, 3 weeks?
Yeah, roughly. A little less.
What else is coming out? I feel like there's something... Oh, there's some, there's some ARPG coming out later this month that I think they want us to write on. I can't remember what it's like. Something like No Rest for the Wicked or something like that. I can't remember.
Unfamiliar. I saw some Facebook. Was it Facebook? I forget. I think it was RPG Gamer or RPG Fan post about a Fire Emblem clone that was coming out that I thought looked interesting. It looked like old school Fire Emblem. I'd have to go look up the name of it. Which, did I send it to you? Probably
I don't think
not.
so. Yeah, it's an ARPG called No Rest for the Wicked.
I like the name.
It's an early access on Steam, and it launches in 10 days. And that's probably going to be the next thing I work on once I'm done with Dragon's Dogma.
Let's see here.
Well, assuming my computer can run it, of course.
Vestaria Saga 2, The Sacred Sword of Sylvanester. I might keep my eye on that. It looks like an old school Fire Emblem clone. I might go for that.
Where are the PC specs for this?
No Rest for the Wicked, huh?
Yeah. I mean, there's no way that...
I mean, I will forever remember that phrase as the theme song for Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
That's, what, Cage the Elephant is that band's name?
I have no idea.
Oh, looks semi-interesting. Exclusive boss battle gameplay by IGN.
Oh, geez, see, yeah. I remember looking at this game when I was first told about it by my boss, and I was like, oh yeah, like, glad you sent me that new computer so I can run this fucking game that could be run on my fucking, like, tertiary computer. So, this game is not going to be a good test for this new PC.
Is this just Steam PC, basically? Looks like there's some loot.
No, apparently it's coming out on console, too.
Yeah. It looks very,
I don't know if it's coming out...
Unreal Engine kind of art style.
I don't know if it's coming out on date and day on PlayStation. Versions for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S were also set to be released after the game's early access launch. Okay, so it's launching in early access on... Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, I'm going to be working on PC, which is fine. But I don't know. I was kind of hoping that if I was going to work on a PC game, it would be a game that would actually be graphically intensive. So I got this new PC in. I can't remember what time last. I think it was like Wednesday or Thursday.
Has it been like a week?
It's been a while, but it came in a fucking Ark of the Covenant box. Like, just I've never received a package that came in a wooden box before. Like they're fucking hiding something in a warehouse at the end of Indiana Jones. It was a bit bizarre. Like I know
So
my fucking
top men delivered it.
Yeah. I know my dad has gotten shit in a box like this before, but he buys dumb shit for his house, and like, I guess if you buy motors, engines, air conditioners, you know, big expensive household items, they'll put it in boxes like this. But I've never bought anything that came in a big wooden crate, and so you know, you see these things in movies, or maybe you fucking, I don't know, maybe you deal with them in your own fucking life because you're richer than I am, but...
Nah, I'm definitely not.
I got this fucking thing, and it just quickly occurs to me, I have no way to get this fucking thing open.
It looked like a hammer could handle that.
Yeah, I tried, it could not. I had to borrow a pry bar from my dad, and yeah, fucking, because they're boomers, it took them like 3 days to find one. But, you know, whatever, I was in no big rush. And so I finally got a pry bar, I think Sunday morning, and I was like, okay, cool. I don't know when I'm going to get around to actually opening this, but I can finally open it. And, you know, eventually I just got fucking too curious, and I ended up prying the thing open, and what's inside is a big cardboard box, nearly the same size as the wooden box. I was just like, they could have shipped the thing in a fucking wooden box. Like, it would have been fine. I don't even want to know how much this fucking thing cost. It's more than I would have ever spent on a PC for myself. I'm gonna guess about $4,000 is what they spent on this, but
Oh wow!
I know it's got
I doubt mine was worth $4,000.
I mean, yours worth a good amount, but it's got a 4080 Super in it, so that's a $1,000 graphics card right there. And I know they spent $600 on the motherboard, which is, again, like, my upper limit for a motherboard is about $200. But, I mean, then you got a fucking... God, what's the fucking Ryzen CPU? A fucking, like, Ryzen 9 6900? 6900X, some shit like that. I don't know. It's a good computer. I opened it up after I got, like... It came in a cardboard box inside a wooden crate. I got that out. It's nestled lovingly between big-ass pieces of foam. I can't fault... Like, I think the PC was assembled by Origin, who I've never dealt with before, and I have no opinion on them. We'll see after a couple of years. If this computer is still running, I will have an opinion on them. But, I can't fault them for their packing. This thing was not going to get damaged in any sort of fucking conventional shipping hazard. It was going to damage something else.
Could you drop it off a 2-story building?
I don't know about that, but there's a chance that it might have still worked after that, because, like, the internals were packed by, like, fucking spray foam, too, so... like, shit was not moving in this PC. And it was also... Like, I opened the cardboard box that the thing is in, you know, it's got the foam packing around it, and then it's, like, enveloped in a cloth fucking sheath. So it's, like, wrapped up 3 different fucking ways. And it's humongous, dude. Like, I'm not in the greatest of shape anymore. I used to lift weights. Those days are way behind me, and, you know, Rebecca was sleeping, so I don't want to go wake her up to go, you know, get her to help me lift a fucking computer that I didn't really need to be fucking around with. So I got some, we got these little furniture booties, right, that you put on, like, the feet of, like, couches and shit, so you can slide them around on carpet and whatnot.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna put some of those on this fucking computer. Very smart idea. I was able to slide this thing everywhere I needed to. And my precious dog Joker was out at the time, and he does not potty in the house. Or I should say, he doesn't potty in our house. But I took him to my parents' house last year. I can't remember what for, some holiday or other. And my mom has her own dogs, and he apparently finds their smell offensive or challenging in some way. So he was marking his territory in her house, which was greatly embarrassing, and why he is not invited to stay over at her house, or at least inside. He can go play outside, but he can't be inside their house. And I don't blame them for that.
Yeah,
but,
that's kind of fucked.
Yeah, he doesn't go to the bathroom in our house, but he apparently, his response to other dogs being in his vicinity, or their smell at least, was to mark his territory. He peed on one of their beds.
You've told this story before, I remember this.
So I was sitting there thinking, like, I love this fucking dog, but I'm not going to leave this PC around. One, earlier in the day, he, you know those little nozzles that you attach to, like, the fucking suction end of a vacuum cleaner?
Yeah.
Some of them have little brushes, some of them are just, like, little plastic bits that, like, focus it into a siphon. I caught him chewing on one of those. I heard him chewing on it. And I went out there and I got it from him before he did any real damage to it. But so he still likes to chew on things. He should. He hasn't chewed any cords or anything, so I haven't really had much cause to get really mad at him. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is a dog that's pissed on unfamiliar scents before, and he's chewed on plastic things. So I absolutely cannot leave this computer on the floor where he can reach it.
Yeah, that's pretty smart.
I was just having, like, you know, fucking visions of him pissing on the side of this computer because it smelled weird. So I put those booties on it, I slid it into the hallway, and we bought a bunch of gates for these dogs that you can kind of, like, link together to form enclosures for them. And, we haven't used them conventionally in a long time. We just have the gate running down the hallway, and it's in front of a bookshelf to protect, like, the books on the shelf from these dogs, and then we can, like, move part of the gate and, like, hinge it behind a heating element we don't use anymore, and, you know, it'll lock off the living room from the rest of the house. And that's been another, like, you know, little ghetto means of partitioning things from these dogs. Like, if they go outside and they get dirty, we don't want them climbing on our bed or on our couch back here. They just move the gate, and they can't get back into the hallway. So I pushed the PC into the hallway and moved the gate so they couldn't get to it. And then I decided to call my mom on the phone. I can't remember why. Oh, right. Because she's the one who fucking dropped the pry bar off. She dropped the pry bar off, and she didn't come and say hi to the dogs. And I knew that she was out there because the dogs were going crazy. But I'm a grown adult man. I don't have kids, so when I'm at home by myself, I'm usually in my underwear. It's a nice little visual for you all. So I didn't, you know, we could have done without that. I heard, because my dogs were freaking out, I knew someone was on the porch, and I knew that she told me she was going to be here around 3 to drop the pry bar off. So I knew that they were freaking out, so I went and got dressed and went out there, and she was already leaving. And so I decided to call her after opening up, you know, PC and all the stuff I mentioned above. I called her up, and I was like, you have any idea what you just did? You came by, and you didn't say hi to Joker. And so I guilt-tripped her, and then
Yeah, Joker's not a person, though.
Yeah, but he loves her.
No. Doesn't really care about her. It's a dog.
These are her grand puppies, Greg.
Oh my god.
She's not getting grandkids. This is the closest she's getting. She has to fucking cosplay a little bit.
You got problems, man?
Nah, not really. It's fine. But I ended up talking myself into taking the dogs over there because she neglected them and abused them by not interacting with them. She just left the pry bar on the porch, which is fine. So I go over there at 4, and we're playing with the dogs, and I'm making fun of, because my dad has a fucking shed, and he built a balcony on it, and then he never got around to staining it, so now the balcony's rotten. I'm just looking at this fucking balcony, got this rotten wood on the edge, and I'm like, that doesn't look fucking safe. And anyways, it's like 2 hours, hanging out with my mom like a fucking good son does. And then it starts to thunder. I'm like, it's not supposed to rain today. And it's like 6 o'clock, and I decide, you know what? I'm gonna get these dogs in the car and go home before it really starts raining. And it really started to break open at around 7, and then, like, power was flickering, and I was like, I don't think this podcast is going to work, so that's why I messaged you on my phone. Said,
the power's not flickering?
Power's not safe. Yeah, it does that when it rains. Not every time, but a disturbing amount. Like, this place has shit fucking power grid. We tend to get, like, especially when the storms are like these spring storms, and they're spring storms usually are the ones that make the power really shitty, and then we don't have too much in the way of bad storms, usually until fall again. But we've had a really quiet spring as far as storms go. Like, this is usually when we get some of our tornado warning stuff. But it hasn't been too bad this year. I guess they got hit with a tornado in winter a few months ago up in Clarksville. Anyways. So yeah, I tell you that this podcast isn't going to happen because I can't guarantee my power won't shut out. And I don't want to be running my PlayStation 5 and have the power go out. I mean, it happens. Every electronic here is just going to have to cope with the fucking power going out. That's just...
You got it plugged into a surge protector, right?
Oh, that surge protector died.
Really?
Well, I have it plugged into a different one, but I used to have one that had a battery backup. And I guess the battery was not sufficient to power all the things that were in it, and so it drained the battery to the point where it just wouldn't stay charged, and when it's not charged enough, it'll sit there and beep at you very, very loudly. Like, it wants you to know that you have something plugged into this that is drawing from the battery, and it's not a bad feature for what it is, because it's telling you, hey, you need to turn this shit off because you're running on... Like, it's not a huge battery. This gives you, like, maybe 2 minutes to shut your PC off safely. So every time it would occasionally just start blaring at me, and eventually shut off a few times. And once your surge protector is supposed to keep your shit from shutting off is shutting off, it's kind of outlived its usefulness. I bought 2 of them back in the day, and I have another one that's up by the other computer, which draws less power and doesn't have a PlayStation 5 plugged into it, and it's fine. But I think I just overtaxed the one I had. So no, I have a generic power supply now that I don't really trust to do much, but it's just the way it is. Because I don't have money to buy like one of those really expensive ass like battery backup surge protectors. These are like $80, so they weren't too bad, but they get way more expensive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, weren't we looking at some when Alex was getting one from Neoseeker for, after he lost all his work that one time? Do you remember that?
Vaguely. I know they get a lot more expensive than $80.
We were looking at a couple of them.
I mean, they're not bad. They're good in concept. How did he lose all his work? Is it just because like the power went out and he didn't save, or did it actually destroy some hardware?
Power went out. Multi-hours of recording lost, I guess.
Oh, okay. See,
I've started using the program he's using, the OBS. So I'm sure he was recording with that and just lost it all.
Yeah, no, I've been using OBS for years. All my coworkers tell me to just call it OBS. All my coworkers tell me to use some like NVIDIA. NVIDIA has a built-in way to capture shit. I don't like it. I've always just used OBS. I got that to where I haven't installed that on this new PC. I'm gonna have to get that sorted for this upcoming project, but that's kind of one of the reasons I ended up with this new PC anyways, is that, I've worked on a few games on PC over these last couple of months, like a Dragon, Rogue Trader. I could have been working on Dragon's Dogma 2.
Anything on Rogue Trader.
That game sucked.
I did all the heretical only stuff and it was not fun.
Point is, I've used OBS before. It's just when my computer, and my old computer's not bad. Like we're not killing it. We're not getting rid of it. It's still going to be in use. But when it was getting to the point where running a game and recording, which are two, somewhat intensive tasks to do at the same time, was becoming less and less viable. Like, it was able to do Baldur's Gate, and that was, it's, again, not a humongously demanding game, but it put some strain on this. It limited having to record at the same time limited the graphical fidelity of my recordings. I'll say that. I had to run the game at 1080p to get good performance out of it while recording. And it's just, two CPU intensive tasks on a 7-year-old CPU. It's just not a recipe for great performance. So they sent me this PC before it became a real issue, before I actually had to do anything crazy PC-wise. And it's just, if I had my way, I'd do everything off of PlayStation, because it's easier from a workflow perspective, because then I'm recording on the PC and playing on another piece of hardware. It's on my TV. I can just look over my monitor and have two full screens to, do writing and recording, and just better. But unfortunately, not every developer is going to send us codes on PlayStation. So,
yeah,
just the way it is.
What a shame, too.
But I went to bed around, I want to say 8:45, 9, when it became clear that this shit wasn't blowing over. And I woke up, I want to say around 1. I can't remember the actual time. I want to say around 1. And I was like, well, nothing to do now. I don't really trust the power to stay on. So this is a good time to go fuck with that PC, and because there's some things I needed to take the foam out of it, and I needed to go unplug my old PC from the corner it was in and sort all the cords, and it's just a mess. There's vacuuming that needed to be done, just prep work to set this new PC up. So I decided to do that in the early AM hours, and gigantic pain in the ass. One of the things that happened, hey Greg, we like to talk about the money we spent. I spent a lot of money.
Yeah, on what?
Okay, so I had an Elgato 4K 60 Pro in my old computer because I didn't like any of the USB capture cards that were out on the market, including Elgato's. God, they had some shitty one. I can't even remember what it was called, but
what, HD60?
No, the HD60, that was the old one I had. I loved it. It lasted me like a decade. Fucking such a trooper. The only reason I stopped using it because, well, can't do 1080p. It can't even do, 10 or 4K pass through. So it was kind of becoming a liability to have connected to these next-gen consoles. I don't care that much about graphics, but I don't want to surrender the graphics just because I have an old capture card hooked up, But no, there was another one after that. I love the HD60, nothing about that. But they had another one on the market that I just didn't think very highly of, and no one else did either because the reviews were all bad. Not bad, but you want your reviews for an expensive capture card to be significantly above 4.5 stars, I would say. Well, I have an issue with this fucking Elgato 4K 60. I've had it for I want to say 2-ish years. And I think it's kind of a piece of shit, honestly. I know it's also well reviewed on the other external capture cards I was looking at. This thing ships on a little PCI card, right? And so already it's a pain in the ass because I don't want to have to open up a PC for anything. If I can get away with it, these PCs should remain closed forever. But this is a little PCI card. I'm willing to be a professional. I built the last PC I had with my own 2 hands, the way God intended. And so I was familiar with the internals. I was more willing to open it up and fuck with it because I knew where everything was and what it could do and all that stuff. This internal capture card comes with 2 back plates that you screw into the back of your PC. Only problem was, I have not found a single fucking PC that actually fits these 2 back plates and allows the Elgato 4K 60 to reach the PCIe slot. And at first, I thought it was
you don't need the back plates.
You do not need the back plate, but then you don't have any way to secure this thing to the PC. So that was the compromise I made.
You don't need that either.
There are 2 little screws on the back of the card that you screw the little back plate plates into. Can't say that word for some reason. And then you screw the back plate into the side of the PC, like any of your other side buses that you take out to install anything. And it's just like if the back plate was flush with the back of the PC, it could not be fully inserted into PCIe. And it comes with two of them. It comes with like a little short one, I guess if you're working in some like cramped machine or something, and it comes with a longer one. Neither of them fit. So, I'm going to be doing recording and capturing and, guiding with this. Oh, I think Joker's chasing a mouse. He's not going to catch it.
You got a mouse in your house?
We've had mice. It's spring. They've been moving in. We've caught like 5 of them. And I think Zan has caught another 2. So, yeah, I've seen another one running around. So we've got mice, we've got traps out for them.
I will say, in like our Illinois house, we had mice every now and again. Especially when it turns, winter, spring, whatever.
Spring is, yeah.
This Virginia house, nothing, no animals whatsoever. Every house out here is like raised.
Oh. Yeah, we have mice right now. Actually, it's bad. They're worse than they've ever been, but we put little glue traps in cardboard boxes, give them little food, and because we can't leave the glue traps out because our fucking dogs, Joker, will eat them because he's a very smart dog.
He gets in their fur. Yeah, because he's very smart.
He will not eat the mice. He cannot catch mice. He tries, but he's never done it yet. So we'll see if he ever manages that.
Dude, Sprocket can catch a squirrel.
Zan has caught 3 mice, so I think it's safe to say Zan is our hunter. When it comes to, he ate one of those motherfuckers whole, too. It's like gross. The first one he caught, I heard him and Joker scrabbling after something in the living room, and I was like, oh, they're after something. This is last year. Told you about this one. And, I saw Zan with a tail hanging out of his mouth, so I yell at him and grab him, and he drops it, and there's this waterlogged, dead fucking mouse. I'm like, well, they caught that one. And the second one, I didn't see him catch. He just, I heard him scrabbling around something in the hallway. These dogs, man. Little fucking short legs, but they can move. They can move when they want to, and when they're chasing a mouse, you just hear them over the fucking carpet. I heard him doing that, and I didn't think anything of it, because I didn't hear any squeaks or anything. And I saw him, nosing at the gate around the bookshelf, but, you expect there to be racket if they actually catch a mouse, but only way I know he caught a mouse is he regurgitated half the fucking thing later. That was lovely. That was fun. My friends were over here, too. That's when last time my friends were there, and I was like, just see this fucking lump of gray and red on the carpet. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Anyway, so he caught a second mouse, and Rebecca said that he caught a mouse, while she was doing something in the kitchen, and he learned his lesson from when I stopped him. He slurped the fucking thing down before she could make him drop it. So Zan is able to kill these mice, and he's done a job of it. But
good boy.
How did we get sidetracked on that? Anyways, so
you like talking. That's how.
I do like to. I have a gift for gab.
Yeah, you do.
Hey, what podcast do we have without that? One that focuses on games. That's what.
A much more focused and game-related podcast. Speaking of games,
no, we're not ready yet. I've got more.
Speaking of games, 100 Heroes. I can't believe 20 days early. Fuck yeah!
You gonna make any use of it?
Yeah, I'll try.
Are you doing like a Neo Seeker guide for it, or are you just doing game facts?
Yeah, it's Neo Seeker.
Oh, did they send you the code early, or did the Oh, okay. I thought the Kickstarter sent you the code early. I was like,
no, the Kickstarter was they sent a beta code, but okay. I would imagine it's probably more like a demo.
I really don't think we're doing 100 Heroes at Gamer Guides, so
it's got to be one of the most anticipated games for the year, no?
I mean, I
Does
don't
that
really.
mean nothing to nobody?
I don't think it fucking matches up with Rebirth or anything.
Yeah, but it's probably top 10 for the year.
I'm not saying I won't prefer it over Rebirth. Hindsight, I'm kind of disappointed in Rebirth.
Why?
I
guess I
thought
should play more of it.
I thought the pacing was kind of shit, honestly. I think the mini games, like just the proliferation of mini games in it, really dragged it down. Like once you're past chapter 4, good god, the whole run from like chapter 6 to 9 was just miserable. There's just too much bullshit in the game, honestly.
You sure it isn't having to write for it that made you feel like this?
That never helps, but whatever the case, I can't really separate the two, so I have a general somewhat negative impression towards it. I didn't really have that much pressure from the guide though, because I was writing up a lot of the open world stuff, and I was actually, very rare thing that happened here, I was one of the people that was far ahead in terms of game progress compared to everyone else working on it, because I kept rushing forward to get to the next open world stuff, so I could write that all up. I'm usually one of the slower people to progress through a game. Or as I like to say it, I like to play for breadth of understanding instead of, or depth of understanding instead of breadth of understanding, so.
And speaking of slow to get through games, I figure I'm about a third of the way through Tales of Vesperia.
Yeah, you're not slow to get through games. You somehow have all the time in the world to play through these things.
Yeah.
I still don't understand it.
This game, for my brief, here you go, quick, brief, well, I almost said inspiration, that's not the right word. My brief takeaway from the third of this game that I played. This is the definitive edition on PS4. This was the game that came out just for Xbox back in the day, right? You remember that?
No. Tales wasn't on my radar back then.
Your Tales history is lacking?
Very much so.
Well, they have made games exclusively for certain systems in the past, like Symphonia, for example, or you know how Tales of Hearts are, only came out for the Vita. This one back in the day was only on Xbox, but then they made a definitive edition several years later, put it out on PS4. That's how I'm playing it. Apparently, according to the back, more Mystic Arts, new characters, more story, remastered in full HD. This game, I can tell, is right. It must have. I think they made it right after they made Symphonia because it's got the same feel. Like the skits kind of look the same with those boxes. The world kind of looks the same. It's that era of Tales, and it's not bad so far. I think I like it better than Symphonia. It is remastered, but like the characters are more interesting and the story's a little better so far, I think. I don't know. Symphonia was the Final Fantasy VII of the fucking Tales series back in the day.
I mean, they've really been cranking those things out, especially in like the PS2, PS3 era.
Yeah, they every couple of years they had one of these fucking Tales games, and then between Tales of Berseria and Tales of Arise, it was like 7 years or something.
It was always one of those franchises that I would see like in a GameStop, usually the bargain bin, and it never drew. Like I didn't have money back then, so it just never drew my interest enough to actually get me to.
You should have grabbed it. It was in the bargain bin.
I should have, but you know, it was. God, what were some other like JRPG series that I would see back in the day?
Star Ocean?
Not really so much.
Well, not Dragon Quest.
No, those were. That's one of the games I did buy from the bargain bin, actually. Dragon Quest VIII, I got that one. Got to that one later, around 2008.
Well, that was totally worth it.
Oh yeah, every penny. I can't remember fucking which I have like they re-released one.
I don't know, but there's very few JRPG series that just went on a string of games like Tales.
I mean, Trails now, but
Final Fantasy Trails, but that's later.
I feel Trails, yeah, was late PS3 where that really picked up.
Yeah, I mean, Tales had all those PS1 games, all those PS2 games, all those PS3 games. And that was even us not getting the games they were putting out in freaking Japan. Did you know they had some DS games?
No.
Yeah. A bunch of DS games we never got, some remasters we never got. We still don't have every Tales game.
So you're saying you're enjoying, what's it, Vesperia?
Yeah, it's solid.
You're enjoying it more than the Final Fantasy VII of the series?
I think so.
I mean, because that kind of sounds like sacrilege.
Yeah, I mean...
I'm not a Tales connoisseur, so I can't say.
You gotta remember... Okay, tell me how many good RPGs there were on the GameCube.
I never played on the GameCube.
I rest my case.
Because there weren't enough good JRPGs to make me want to play.
I rest my case. RPGs on Nintendo consoles fell off a fucking cliff when the Nintendo 64... Was
Kaitos on GameCube?
There you go. Yeah, Baten Kaitos was on the GameCube. But nobody was back then, even today, really. Nobody's going around singing Baten Kaitos' fucking praises.
No, I just remember seeing it in stores and thinking, oh, that sounds neat.
Yeah. If you were an RPG on the GameCube, you were in rare company to begin with.
It makes me extra glad I skipped that console in favor of PlayStation and Xbox, which is...
Yeah, well, that's what all the fucking developers did.
That was, in hindsight, the correct choice. Doesn't matter how much of a Nintendo fanboy you are.
No, and I clearly agree. They kept with cartridges in the era of fucking CDs when they should not have, and they did it for all the wrong reasons. They did it for wanting control and for trying to be anti-piracy. And then they, for the GameCube, for whatever reason, they're like, well, okay, we'll give the CD stuff a shot, but they're going to be our CDs and our specifications.
Proprietary, yeah.
Yeah. See, and again, why did they do that? Why do you think?
Because they're Nintendo. Same reason they do everything.
The same reason, yeah. They wanted control. They wanted to curb piracy. Not that they were ever stopped by the pirates. Because they never were.
I mean, some people might have played Switch games via emulation before they launched. So I would have to say, based on that observation, that the battle against piracy has largely been a failure, I think it's safe to say.
Largely, yeah. But Nintendo's fought that fight forever.
Yeah. I mean, they were fucking...
They were doing that lockout shit back on the NES.
They took Blockbuster to court over game rentals, didn't they?
Yeah, they sure did.
So
they lost that one.
Yeah, they did. And it was the right choice, too. They deserved to lose that one. So yeah, when I was hooking up this new PC and taking down my old PC, I had them side by side. I sent you an image of the two together. One's a mid tower, one's a full tower, and Jesus Christ, this new thing is honking. It is humongous. The one thing that I was trying to salvage from my old PC to the new PC is that Elgato 4K capture card. And wouldn't you know, it doesn't fit in my new PC either. It's too long to fit my new PC. It's too short to fit in my old PC. And I don't know. I thought this shit was standardized. I have no fucking clue how this thing doesn't fit in any PC. But the only real complaint at this very moment that I have with this new PC is, it only has 2 PCI slots. I mean, they're both, 16. So if I wanted, I could have a big honking, double GPU setup. Do people even run that shit anymore? I don't think it really helps that much. But I could do it if I wanted to. Only thing is, the 4080 Super is ginormous. It's like twice the size of the 1080 Ti, or 1070 Ti. It is just monstrously big. And when I first opened it up, I was like, I can't put this fucking capture card in here. It's going to block half the fans. Then I then I opened up my old PC and I remembered how small the Elgato is, and I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. It's doable. It probably won't kill nothing, but it doesn't fit anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, big purchase I made. They have a new capture card out now. I'm going to actually get the correct name for this, because I just looked it up. After trying to get this internal card in, I decided, you know what, let's see what they got on the market.
Oh, so you did some research, huh?
I did some research, well, I mean, I'm going to need to fucking record shit. I could just record stuff natively on the PlayStation and move it over via, like, a thumb drive, but that's a pain in the ass. I'd rather record natively on my PC. Right, it's called the Elgato 4KX. And it's actually got good reviews. And apparently...
It's the X part that makes it better.
Yes. Instead of having... Apparently it does, like, it can record up to 4K, 1440 frames per second, which is way more than I'm ever going to do with it, because why do I need to record shit that high of a frame? I don't know why people would need to do that, but that's not the point. The point is, it's a USB-C capture card. This new computer is just fucking popping with USB-C slots. Unlike my old one. My old one had like 1 or 2, and I didn't even realize it had that fucking one. This one has like 5 or 6, and it's... I trust it to be able to run this capture card at a better rate than the old one did. So I decided to buy it. It's like $230.
So you spent even more money.
Well, I didn't buy the PC, so this was my contribution to the work-life balance here. So yeah, I bought this capture card because I was willing to spend, after taxes, $250 to be done with the Elgato 4K60. That should tell you how much I like that fucking internal capture card. So that's I like the software for
That's a good testament. That should be on a review tag somewhere.
You know what? Maybe I will review it. The software for the Elgato 4K60 isn't very good either. But unfortunately, I don't think the software is going to change. I think I'm stuck with that same terrible software. So, because I doubt they have a different like software suite for this external capture card. But whatever, I bought it. It should be arriving here on the 10th. And I just like the external capture cards better, because then I don't have to open up a PC to fuck with anything, and it's just...
The external's always better.
Yeah, they didn't have
I mean, that's just kind of a standard blanket statement when it comes to hardware of any kind, really.
They didn't have a good one, though.
Yeah, still, it doesn't change that fact.
No. I agree with that completely, and I'm happy to ditch these internal cards for external ones again, and it doesn't help that the last external card I had lasted me like a decade with almost no issues, and the last internal card I had, I mean, it still works, but I have a distinct feeling that software for it was giving my computer, like, I believe it had memory leak issues, because it eventually crashed my computer after having it running for so long, on and off, because, you know, it wasn't stable enough to keep running for a few hours when I was, I'm not saying like actively recording for a few hours, because I'm not Alex. I learned a long time ago, don't do long recordings. They're a pain in the ass to manage. I would rather...
He likes to do multiple hours in a row.
I would rather peel off my fucking fingernails than...
Then he can sit and write for a good session and take screenshots from the recording.
I would rather peel off my fingernails than sit through a fucking multi-hour recording on VLC. It is... I learned not to do that way back with The Witcher 3. It's just too much of a pain in the ass to sit there and like have to scroll through these. And the longer the recording gets, the more finicky it's harder to like shift through the timeline to find the actual screenshots you need, and because it's just more of a tax on the computer to run long video files. It's more of a pain in the ass. I like to record, like, if I can keep my recordings under 30 minutes each, I'm much happier with that. And just, I name them and I can go through it, and it's just like
I'll probably look at like chunks for an hour or so.
I'll record like 4 or 5 hours straight in a session, but I am cutting those off every time a quest ends or I complete a significant objective, or even when I just feel the recording's getting too long. I don't want them getting above an hour.
I don't know why Howard is so, I won't say insistent, but keen on me recording all of a sudden. There was some comments on Unicorn Overlord about not enough screenshots during the battles.
Uh-oh.
I feel, and, well, I mean, there's the occasional vocal people. But a game like Unicorn Overlord, like, there's like 60 plus units that you can compose your army out of, right? Like
I know now.
I mean, it's crazy to think that anyone would have the same army composition as me. Maybe early in the game, but once you start mixing and matching 5 characters in 1 unit, and then you have like 6 to 8 units, like, you're just playing the game I'm playing at that point. Like, you're not taking in any of your own fun.
Well, if they're using
the sense that you're making your own.
They're using they're using a guide. They forfeit the expectation of being creative when they use a guide.
You can use a guide for things other than me telling you exactly which parties to make up.
Yeah, but if somebody wants to use a guide, I just assume that they want to forfeit that. That is my assumption.
I don't know, it feels wrong to me.
Like, okay, I'm going to assume this is analogous to Fire Emblem. I'm not going to say, like, to your point, that you should say, like, have Lysithea and move her here, but you need to have her as, like, a Pegasus or whatever the fuck the thing was called, a Valkyrie. And
making the promotion choices.
But I would
like,
say stuff like,
you could absolutely do that for Fire Emblem. You could say, hey,
you could
deploy Lysithea as your third deployment. She will be on grid, 8,12.
Yeah.
Move her to 7,17. Attack. You could be that granular.
I think that's too granular.
Who the hell would want to read that?
Apparently, some people.
Fuck those people.
But
never let your decisions be based on those people's comments.
I would rather tell people, instead of specific units, like, get a fast moving mage. Try and build it up in some of the other sections. Like, you want spells with range. Have a character with Thorin. Characters with Thorin are going to be better mages because they can reach out and touch things 3 spaces away.
You can say the same things about Unicorn Overlord. Like, make sure you have a warrior in one of your units. You're going to want to take out these barricades. Make sure one of your units is strong against defense.
Okay, so that's
defense, which can be a mage or it could be a warrior. It doesn't have to be either.
So that's what I would write up, and I would
throw out a flying unit to go northwest because you can fly over the mountain and get to this ally faster, and it's strategy, but it's not specific fucking do A, B, C.
But if my guide included specific strategic moves that I thought...
sometimes.
If I thought that it was important enough to tell somebody to go and do this, to go flank this guy, to go capture this area quickly, I would probably have media for it.
Well, like, for example, I thought it was important enough in Unicorn Overlord, because I only used unique units. These are named units, special named units, because you can go to forts and buy generic units.
Yeah.
Kind
of like, what's it called? Oh, fuck. That's that, like, Tactics clone that we played a few.
Fell Seal.
There you go, Fell Seal.
Exactly like Fell Seal, except for there's enough unique units in Unicorn Overlord to make 6-7 units of 5 characters each. We're talking dozens of unique units compared to Felseal.
Well, who the fuck needs a Uden Chronicle?
What?
Well, you got like 30 unique units plus and Unicorn Overlord. Who needs a Uden Chronicle anymore?
Oh, because they got 100.
I mean, are we really playing that game for 100 unique units? Is that really the selling point?
No one, yeah, even back in Suikoden days, no one was really cared about that dishwasher, the clothes washer who happened to be Hero 79.
Exactly.
Of the Stars of Destiny. But anyway, there's enough unique units that you never have to go buy any generics. I bought one generic unit in my entire playthrough, and it was a Griffin Knight, and it was because I could make them a party leader, and I could have another flying unit. That is how good fucking flying units are. And you got them really early. Like once I got my Wyvern Knight, I benched her. I benched the generic unit I bought. Didn't use her anymore.
So you're saying that being able to move fast is good in Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah.
Next, you're going to tell me long-range spells and skills are really good.
Hey, these are the skills that pay the bills.
So I'm going to play this game, and all of my Fire Emblem experience is going to carry over wonderfully.
More or less, yeah.
Okay.
The Griffin Knights are exceptionally good at killing cavalry units, but they falter to arrows.
Oh, of course.
Pair 'em with a fighter. The fighter specializes in blocking arrows. Or, just throw healing items at them. Fucking brute force your way sometimes,
So basically, you got in trouble for not adding enough media.
I don't know about that.
Not trouble.
I'm not much of a media person to begin with. They know
you
what
don't
they have.
say.
Yeah, this isn't a surprise.
Maybe he's trying to help you grow as a guide creator, as a content creator.
Yeah, I can't teach old dogs new tricks.
You absolutely can. Unfortunately,
you're really scruffy with your audio all of a sudden.
Is it me?
Yeah, it sounds like that to me, like you're moving around or something.
Am I crackling?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're crackling too, but it hasn't become like an issue. I think it's just the connection.
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, I could leave the party and try to rejoin and see if that's gonna fix anything, but hold on. You know what? Let me just try and plug this into a USB.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
For some reason, having this headset plugged in makes it behave better for reasons I don't quite understand, but...
No, it's night and day better now.
Okay. I figured I'd give it a try because it's the least effort potential way of resolving things. So, yeah.
Night and day better.
You need to make more, you need to do more media is what I'm getting.
Yeah,
is what they would like you to do anyways.
I'll record as I play. We'll see what happens.
I mean, I do a lot of media, so it's not a thing. Not a thing for me. Monster Hunter 20th Anniversary Figure Builder Standard Model Plus. What the hell is this? Are these like little models of... Oh, look at this. What is this? Are these little models of like the fucking monsters in Monster Hunter? That's kind of cool.
What are you talking about?
Oh, I just looked at Cheap Ass Gamer Reddit, looking at the things they have for sale.
Well, I should really subscribe to that Reddit.
Oh,
what's wrong with me not subscribing to it?
Discord.
Cheap Ass Gamer Discord, huh?
Yep. And then they...
I'm sure they have a Reddit too. I actually have a BK Stunt account. Cheap ass gamers, cheap ass design, cheap ass drunk. No, maybe they don't. Yeah, maybe they don't.
I don't know what this sale is. So I did buy some things that weren't strictly work related.
Game related?
Game related, absolutely. I pre-ordered Grand Blue Fantasy Relink on PS5 last year.
Did that
and
not
then
already come out? I was about to say.
It did, but Target decided to cancel my order without telling me.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to have any... Fair cop, I'm not going to have time to play this anyways. I can't remember. It came out right around the time of like Persona 3 Reload and Rebirth, and just a bad time in general. I mean, the game apparently did well, so it didn't suffer for it. But I figured, whatever. I'll pick it up later when it's on sale. I'm buying like literally every other game at this time. I don't need to get this one too. Amazon had it for sale for $65, the deluxe edition. So,
yeah, I saw that.
Cheap ass gamer alerted me to that, and I was like, I'll do. So saved.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Saved $35 buying that. I think that's a good enough price for a deluxe edition, even though it doesn't come with a steelbook. So I don't know why I care.
Yeah, I saw it only came with an art book and a OST and some poster cards. I'm like, no steelbook, no sale.
I'm kind of sunk cost fallacy with that one. In my mind, I've already bought it for $100.
So you may as well save money.
Yeah, so getting it again for 65 is...
That's not how it works.
Yeah, that's how it works when I want to justify buying a game. So, I bought the Neptunia Game Maker Revolution limited edition off of Iffy Store. That was like $90. That comes with a steelbook and a bunch of other shit. I don't know why. I find those games charming. They're fun. They're stupid, but they're fun.
Which one is it again? I gotta look this up.
Neptunia Game Maker Revolution. I really like the first. I really like the first.
They made so many of these fucking things.
Oh yeah, no, this is like another weird little spin-off. I really like the first few hours of all these games, and then it's just like, okay, I don't think I can. Making the same boob jokes over and over again.
6,000 copies in Japan in its first week.
Yeah, it's Japan's problem, not mine.
That's not a good sign, buddy.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm sure it is a decent little 7 out of 10 RPG. So,
yeah.
If the Japanese market wants to be weird about buying physical media, that's a them problem. But so I picked up that, and I was gonna look for stuff on Target because they were having a little sale. But I didn't really find any games I wanted. Because I either own too many already or have them pre-ordered or whatever the case. So I just bought a bunch of books, and then they canceled half the fucking books I bought. So, little bit of incompetence there from Target. I'm not sure I bought anything else. I think that might have been it. I'm kind of saving up money for, like if they ever do those Suikoden remasters. If they ever put those up for sale, I want to have money to drop on that. East 10, although they usually have those pre-orders up for a little bit, so I'm not too worried about that.
Well, that's definitely a priority for me. Got to add to the East 7 East 7, 8, and 9 collector's editions.
Well, I found myself in a little bit of a money windfall. This doesn't usually happen, and this.
Yeah, be sure to save for the inevitable East game.
Yeah, this is gonna drive you nuts, but Warhammer is coming out with some Battle Force boxes.
Oh God.
Orcs and Custodes, which are two factions I collect, and Rebecca also collects orcs. So we're looking at these boxes, and these boxes are like $200 each. So this is looking like some serious money. If we both get an orcs box, and then I also get a Custodes box, that's some money. That's some serious money. Not saying that that's going to happen, but I was looking at them. And then they announced some combat patrols. You don't need to know what a combat patrol is. It's a smaller box that you use basically to... A lot of people use them to get into armies, but it's also... contains a bunch of units at a discount, so they're nice little supplemental boxes to have. And the Custodes Combat Patrol box makes their Battle Force box completely obsolete for reasons that I won't get into. And the thing about the Battle Force boxes, they sell out really fast, and you gotta be ready to go get them when they come out. And all these Battle Force boxes are going to come out the same fucking weekend, next weekend to be precise. And I knew these were coming, so I was ready for them. Yeah.
That sounds like $600 at least.
Yeah, it could have been, but it's one thing to be like, once you find them on eBay, it's like, do I really want to spend this fucking money? It almost never happens that way. Let's say it that, but put it that way. But the Custodes Combat Patrol made the Custodes Battle Force completely obsolete from where I'm sitting. So there's $200 I don't need to worry about. And the Combat Patrols are on the market longer. They're a regular staple. They're one of the things that Games Workshop wants to sell for a long time to people. So I don't have to go and buy those right away. Not saying that it's cheap, because they're not, but they're cheaper than a Battle Force, and then you're not forced to buy them all, right at launch. And then Rebecca decided she didn't really need the Orcs one, because she has a lot of the units in already. She doesn't care to double up on some of the things in that box. So all of a sudden,
$200.
Yeah, I mean, she can get the things she really wants out of that box for like 80. So she doesn't need to spend 200. Is what she decided. And I don't have her orcs is her primary army. So she's got a lot more orcs than I do. So I still kind of want this box. So suddenly a $600 fucking potential splurge went down to 200. And that helps a lot. And then I bought a fucking graphics card, but you win some, you lose some. Or not graphics card, capture card.
Capture, yeah.
So that helped. I have the money to buy all the stuff I want and some of the stuff I need, so it's fine. Alright, let's get to some of this news that I want to get over, because some of this is actually interesting stuff that I felt bad about not being able to get to on Sunday. Embracer is divesting from Gearbox, or rather Gearbox is freeing itself from the clutches of, well, I can't even call it that. Take-Two is buying Gearbox from Embracer. Probably the fair way to say this. Embracer bought Gearbox for $1.3 billion and sold it 2 years later to Take-Two Interactive for $460 million.
Oh, boy.
So, if you want to become a millionaire in the gaming space, this is how you do it. Start out with $1 billion, buy Gearbox, sell them 2 years later for a third of the price. Geniuses running this company.
That doesn't seem the way to become a millionaire.
I mean, there's still multi-millionaires. It's just generally you want your bank account balance to go up, not down.
They deserve it. They deserve every bit
absolutely. Fuck these clowns. After the sale closes, the Gearbox Entertainment Company will retain Gearbox Software, Gearbox Montreal, Gearbox Studios Quebec, and the Borderlands and Tiny Tina Worldlands franchises, as well as Homeworld, Risk of Rain, Brothers in Arms, and Duke Nukem. Embracer Group will retain Gearbox Publishing San Francisco, which will be renamed, including the publishing rights to the Remnant franchise, Hyper Light Breaker, and other notable unannounced game releases. Yeah, I anything that is unannounced and unreleased from Embracer might as well not exist. The Embracer is also retaining Cryptic Studios, including Neverwinter Nights Online and Star Trek Online, Lost Boys Interactive, Captured Dimensions. Retained companies will be integrated into other parts of Embracer Group in the coming period. I know this is very fucking difficult, but is Embracer the most incompetent gaming-related company in the market right now? They gotta be worse than Konami and maybe even Microsoft.
I don't know about that.
You don't think they're more incompetent than Konami?
Does Konami even make games?
Yeah, but they don't lose fucking a third of the value on the things they purchase either. I mean, it's a low bar, but I think the Embracer might have failed to clear it. So, hey, our favorite developer, Randy Pitchford, is free to continue making absolute bangers with Duke Nukem and Borderlands. People are also saying that this kind of confirmed that Borderlands 4 was in production. I'm not going to get into
because they're willing to sell or buy.
Well, there were some releases that talked about like a new Borderlands game. I'm not going to get into that and like read any quotes because, frankly, Borderlands 4 being in development is like the least surprising thing ever. I think it's news if Borderlands 4 isn't in development at this time, not the other way around. But that's just me.
Yeah, that's probably fair.
So something for me, like when we officially cover the announcement of Borderlands 4, for me to go, remember we heard about this months ago, and you're like, I don't remember that shit. This is exactly how it's going to play out. If anyone watches this at a later date, you will be able to confirm.
Also fair.
Another thing I bought. I went ahead and bought this. Corpse Party 2 Darkness Distortion will launch for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC via Steam, GOG, and the Humble Store this fall worldwide. Publishers XD Game, Marvelous Europe, and Marvelous... Wait, there's two Marvelouses? Yeah, Marvelous Europe and Normal Marvelous. Okay. And developer Team Grizz announced. Normal price is $50. Comes with a collector's edition, Ayami's Mercy, which will get you the game, a blue LED candle, an art book, a steel metal case, art cards, and an evidence kit for $80. This was actually not my call on the collector's edition. Rebecca really wanted this one for reasons I do not understand.
Well, did she play the first one?
No. She just likes the look of it, I guess. I don't understand, but she wanted it, and I am not going to discourage her from buying gaming-related stuff, so. Plus, it'll look cool on the shelf, so, you know. Pick your battles.
Yeah, you never know. Maybe it will be a cult classic and do nothing but appreciate and value.
I mean, you never know. It's $80. It's not the worst. That's like, what, two trips to McDonald's these days? So
two whole trips.
Jeez, that's not that much of an exaggeration anymore, and that's sad. Rebecca actually really wants to play the first one. She wanted me to buy it on GOG for $10, and I'm like, it'll be on PlayStation. We can just get it on PlayStation. So apparently she really wants to play this. I don't know why, but again, you know what? If you marry a gamer, I feel like the worst thing you could possibly do is start getting picky about what they play game-wise. Like,
nah, that's fair.
Kind of defeats the purpose. Here's something. Let's have a bone to pick. Greg is a well-known defender of the ESRB. He loves it. He loves anything that prevents him from having to parent. I think that's fair to say.
Oh my god.
Noted past defender of the ESRB. The ESRB wanted to force consumers to submit screenshots so some AI could run an age estimation check on it.
Submit screenshots? What the fuck are you talking about?
Of your faces. This was a thing they had in the works. Supposedly this was done to ensure compliance with COPPA, Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. This is totally not a form of DRM or enforcing age restrictions. Absolutely not. Would not be used to do anything fishy with this media. They promised, they pinky swear that they would have deleted all this material that they had been harvesting.
Yeah, you don't give. First of all, when you say they're planning to do this, it was something some idiot thought of in the back room at some point. America's not going to just give you pictures of themselves for what? To try and convince you that they're 18 or older?
I'll read the actual story from PC Gamer, or at least parts of it. In 2023, the ESRB, along with digital identity company Yoti and, quote, youth marketing solutions provider Super Awesome, filed a proposal with the FTC for a new verifiable parental consent mechanism called Privacy Protective Facial Age Estimation. The FTC has now issued its response to the proposal. The answer is no for now. But don't let this slip that the FTC wants to do this, and I'm sure giving Big Brother any of your fucking information.
No.
The ESRB wants to do this.
There you go.
And yeah, no, I don't trust these motherfuckers as far as I can kick them. I don't know why they thought this would work. Consumers revolted completely against something very similar with the Xbox One. But they're trying it, so this is letting you know where their headspace is at.
Yeah, no. Even non-gaming people would look at that and laugh at it.
What would you rather do? Have hardware spy on your children's faces, or have a little rating on the box of your video games?
Oh, they were going to do this in lieu of ratings?
No, but
Or they were going to do it with ratings?
if you have to join my side, the abolish the ESRB side, or keep the ESRB and have them...
I'd rather get rid of the ESRB altogether than for them to have a database of fucking people's faces.
Now, I will...
That's insane.
I want to expand on this because one of my favorite politicians ever, Joe Lieberman, did the world a favor and finally died. This was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I just want to point out, Joe Lieberman, I'm not going to get too political for too long, and this is going to remain video game based. Joe Lieberman has been a long-time opponent of video games. He's always been a fan of censorship. He is the reason the ESRB exists. He threw a stink fit about Mortal Kombat back in the day. We were
him and Tipper Gore.
Yeah, we were old enough to remember this and be affected by it, but not old enough to. We were kids. We were kids, right? I remember playing Mortal Kombat before the ESRB.
We saw it come into being.
Yeah. And I don't believe the ESRB serves any practical role in the market, except for allowing companies like Walmart to refuse to shelve games that, don't meet certain age ratings, which is whatever. It's a consumer, it's not even consumer advocacy. I guess it's supposed to help idiots who don't want to fucking actually learn what what a game's content is to. And you know what? I know your, childhood situation was weird, but I never had any trouble getting games that I wanted, regardless of what the fucking rating was. My parents never gave a shit.
I didn't either.
Okay.
For a period of time, anyways.
I mean, I didn't know... I mean, I know enough to be suspicious, but I didn't know enough to know whether it was actually a thing. Whatever.
One of the first 2 games I had for my freaking Super Nintendo was Mortal Kombat 2.
So yeah, I mean, wasn't that before the SRB? Or was that after? Maybe it was the first Mortal Kombat that started.
I think it was after.
Maybe it was the first Mortal Kombat that spawned that, but... so I'm dubious as to the merits of this, because most people still aren't going to inform themselves, even with the ESRB, helping us.
I still like it as an at-a-glance system. I think it works just fine for that.
I don't think the government has any role rating this shit and determining what content can or should be in games, and
I don't see how this is any different than rating movies.
I don't necessarily think they should do that either. But I know our system isn't as bad as Australia. They're ridiculously censorious in my opinion.
Yeah, we're a lot better than New Zealand and Australia for sure.
But I might hazard to make a slippery slope argument and just say that the government has no business being involved in this whatsoever. If you want this kind of information, then I say consumer advocacy starts their own database, and you especially now that we have smartphones and shit, you go look up this fucking concerned pearl clutching parents database, so if the video game you're buying has icky swear words or alcohol consumption or whatever the shit that is in every video game that no one functionally cares about. So I think that's the solution. I'm still on team get rid of the SRB. Because I don't think the government has any business being involved in this or rating this. I think this is entirely a consumer and market relationship thing that does not need to be monitored and that can be done with consumer initiative alone. But Joe Lieberman,
consumer initiative.
Well, you know what? If the consumers don't have initiative, that's their fault. That's their fault.
That's you're in some make believe world.
Well, I think you have some
because
I think you have some responsibilities
because of all those other consumer initiative programs before it, right? Those work out well.
Those didn't exist before we had the internet.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a consumer advocate group for anything.
Well, that's the consumer's fault at this point in time. I believe that's the consumer's fault. I don't think that we need them to do. We don't need the government to do this.
It works just fine for an at-a-glance rating system.
This is not like housing codes. I don't think anyone is like. Let's be clear. what is being massaged here with the ESRB. Parents clutching pearls about shit that doesn't matter. That's what's being protected here, is the right of, like, overly sensitive, retarded Christian parents to be able, oh, I don't want my kid exposed. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. I don't care about your little fucking moral hang-ups about shit that don't matter. I read your book. I know you're full of shit. So,
it's
no.
not just violence, it's sexual, too.
Oh, good God forbid people get exposed. Look, your kid has a sexual remark in Dragon Quest VIII. I'm sorry that little Charlie was fucking turned into a pervert when that fucking prince said va-va-voom.
Va-va-voom.
So, no, there's...
Dragon Quest VIII, that's the pinnacle of what we're talking about.
Look, I think you have a duty as a consumer and as a parent to look some of this stuff up yourself. We're not protecting people from, like, companies building houses shoddily so that, like, the roof is going to collapse on you. Your kid might get exposed to a stray nipple if you buy them The Witcher 3. You will get over it. You will live. Your child will be fine. You might actually have to do a little bit of parenting and tell them about things. I remember I was playing The Witcher 3 at my parents' house years and years and years ago. So long ago that my niece, who's now, I think she's about to head off to high school. She's about Sadie's age, I think. She was walking around and she watches the intro to The Witcher 2, which was new at the time. And, you know, somebody gets beheaded in the intro trailer. She's like, what happened to his head? And I remember...
What happened to his head?
What happened to his head? And I remember as a mature...
That's a fair question.
As a mature adult at the time, I looked at her and said, got cut off. He's dead.
And that's how she learned about decapitation?
I don't even think it's stuck. This is not something that, like, came back where, like, my sister yelled at me because my niece was having nightmares about people being beat. It was never a thing that was brought up again. You know why?
Yeah, but what if it was?
Then I would have had to...
You would have been the bad guy, huh?
Then I would have had to have done more explaining. Then I would have had to adult more. It would have been fine. Or we would have gotten some clear indication early on that she was a delicate snowflake and that she needed to be put in a padded cell because she can't handle the world. So... but Joe Lieberman was fine to sit here and talk about the moral hazard of video games, how it was going to corrupt our children, and how it's just such a dire threat to development, and it's going to make people violent. Also, a very avid supporter of the Iraq War. So, just do a little bit of timeline with me. You were of age to enjoy and exult in the violence of Mortal Kombat that Joe Lieberman thought was going to damage you as a young child, and you were also, 10, 15 years later, of an age that Joe Lieberman was totally fine putting that same child in front of fucking bullets and IEDs and shit in Iraq. This is the hypocrisy.
That sounds about right.
This is the hypocrisy of these motherfuckers that pass shit like the ESRB. Absolutely. Oh no, protect our children from a fucking decapitation in Mortal Kombat or some little blood splatters. But you know what? These same children who, oh gee, please don't expose them to anything. Oh yeah, sure, send them out in a fucking tank. Put them in the desert. Fuck them. We got oil to dig out of the ground. So.
Hey, priorities.
Even if you think the SRB serves a useful function, I think the absolute, like, hypocritical cynicism that it's founded upon just renders it so distasteful it shouldn't exist. Especially with this government. Because the government doesn't have this. This is not like a core interest of theirs to keep its children from becoming violent sociopaths. I think it rather suits them quite fine. So yeah, ESRB bad, Lieberman bad.
Yeah, Lieberman bad, ESRB meh.
Until they start fucking, forming databases of your children's faces, in which case your opinion might change.
Clearly.
Nippon
man,
Ichi.
This is no worse than freaking Microsoft back in the day, keeping all the what did they push back in the day? The facial thing.
But it's still bad. Like, don't.
Well, they just gave it directly to the government when the government asked for it. You remember?
Oh yeah. Well, shit. Facebook sold.
What was that? That was with the 360s. I forget the name of the
Kinect.
The Kinect. Yeah, they said that they couldn't sell it without the Kinect. You remember that?
Yeah.
Just lie after fucking lie.
This is funny, but I actually liked the original Kinect on the Xbox 360. I thought it was fun. I bought the fucking thing.
Well, I mean, Microsoft loved hoarding data and giving it to the government.
Well, I didn't have the internet, so I don't know what data of mine they were hoarding, but
Yeah,
I had
a point, but
I had to connect, not the internet. I don't know. Like I'm the weirdest use case ever when it comes to that.
They wanted it to be always online.
Well, of course they did, and they tried that with the one, and it didn't work. We just got a news story about how Facebook apparently has sold all of our. I can't remember who they sold it to. I'm going to look it up because this is actually a thing. Apparently there was why can't I find this now? Facebook apparently sold all of our messenger data to someone, and I can't remember who the fuck it was. Let me see if I can find where this is. Meta. Now I can't find the story anymore.
It probably never existed.
I might have made it up.
Probably make things up, yeah.
Oh, why can't I find it? Oh my god, Twitter's such a fucking cesspool.
Don't you mean X?
No, I don't. Okay, like, we're sitting here talking about the ESRB, right? I'm doing a search for the word Facebook on Twitter, and you know how many fucking nipples I've seen already? At least 3 different sets.
Not enough.
Somebody protect the children from Elon Musk. I can't find it anymore. I guess I won't go into any detail on it. I can't remember who they sold it to, though. But this isn't a document leak. Oh, hey, look, more nipples. Lovely. Anyways, speaking of nipples, Nippon Ichi Software has announced Disgaea 7. Oh, I wish Jared was here. He knows how to do this stuff. Koramade no Zenbu Iri Haji Mashita?
Ooh,
A bundle.
That didn't sound bad.
I might have said the last word. Haji Memimashita. Memashita. Haji Memashita. A bundle edition of Disgaea 7 Vows of the Virtueless that includes all previously released downloadable content and bonus items, as well as an additional story and new gameplay elements that will also be made available for the base game. It will launch for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Switch on July 25th in Japan for about $60. Yen conversion. 5,980 yen. The Western release is yet to be announced, but it would likely be titled Disgaea 7 Complete, given past Disgaea re-releases. I've been waiting for this because I've developed a new disorder. It's called I don't want to open my collector's editions because they will lose money. This is my.
But you never sell them.
I know, but that's not the point. I might sell them. This is my retirement fund, Greg. Stop trying to make me divest of my assets.
You used to be a gamer, man.
I used to be a gamer. Oh, right, another thing I bought. You'll like this. Remember when they released that Steins Gate Elite? It came with a shitty collector's edition.
Yeah.
It had like a cloth thing and like a storyboard in the game, and I was like, that ain't worth $80. Well, my boys over at VGP had this thing for sale for like $40, and I was like, you know what? I'll do it for 40. So I bought that thing.
Wait, how did you not tell me?
Well, I was waiting for the podcast. We're no longer friends. It's there on VGP. It might not be anymore. I'll go look. Maybe I can save this.
You better salvage the friendship.
I decided to buy it for whatever price it was. Linear bonded phenogram? What the fuck is that? Oh,
is that even a word?
Oh, that's the 8-bit one? Yeah, this is it. They still have it.
I will investigate.
You know, God, I just sent you a link. I think that's it. Anyways.
Fucking VGP.
So I decided to buy that. I'm going to open this, because I do not believe this contributes significantly to my retirement fund. But I have, like, Disgaea 7, the limited edition for that, and I was like, not only do I not want to open it, but I don't really want to play base Disgaea 7, because I know they come out with complete editions that have all the DLC. And in my limited experience of Disgaea, the DLC makes the game more fun. So I've been waiting for a complete edition of Disgaea 7 to launch so I can go double dip on that, get all the DLC on disc, hopefully. And then finally, maybe, probably not, but potentially I will play Disgaea 7. So I'm happy for this announcement, but it's also kind of like Borderlands 4. I think it would be a bigger announcement if this didn't exist. So, again, no Western launch date announced, but it's coming. It's coming. It's gonna happen.
Well, I guess I'm spending $40 on whatever this
Yeah!
thing is.
It comes in a nice box too. The box for it is actually bigger than I thought it was, so it'll look really nice on the shelf.
Oh, here's some talk. Where is this? You know how Warhawk likes to make games or guides on fucking like Paw Patrol and that shit?
I mean, he does a lot of stuff like racing and yeah. Games for guides I don't think are particularly guide worthy, but you know, whatever. It's his free time.
Yeah, it is his free time. Who was phone says, I mean, my daughter was able to finish off one of their Switch Paw Patrol games entirely on her own, and she is 4 years old.
Yeah? Yeah, but...
because he was talking about another guide he was doing called My Friend Peppa Pig. God damn it, man. What are you doing?
Probably not the most guide worthy of games ever.
Quality games here.
Don't make me go look through your guide list on Game Packs. I'm sure I'll find something.
Hey, my shit is for the completion project. Thank you very much.
Well, you don't know. Maybe he's trying to do a completion project.
No.
Is this like a Switch game?
I think so.
See? He's trying to build up the catalog of guides, so there is no need to do a big Switch completion project.
I'm gonna go look up My Friend Peppa Pig. It's hard to believe this is a game. Yeah, it's a game. It's a game on the Switch, yeah. No guide. There you go. It needs a guide for the Nintendo Switch. I'm pretty sure, like, this publisher, Outright Games, I think he got, I don't know how this came to be, but he's like their ambassador or something like that. It's some sort of community, like, partnership community thing. And he's taking that full force. He's taking that to heart. So anything they make, he's going to focus on.
All right, here it is. Facebook sold Messenger data, all private messages, all user private messages, to Netflix for $100 million.
What? How is that legal?
Well, when you make a Facebook account, you're basically signing a thing that says you don't have any privacy and Mike Zuckerberg can own all your shit. IMDb. Yep, lawsuit reveals that Facebook sold all of its users' private messages to Netflix for $100 million.
So they're getting sued over it?
I don't think there's anything... I think it's in the TOS that they can...
Well, why are you saying lawsuit then?
Oh, no, it was a lawsuit about something else, and this was something that came up in Discovery that people found.
I see.
So, yeah. Kind of scummy shit, right? So...
You know how Tales has the end of battle skits?
Yeah, vaguely.
You know why the characters pose.
Oh, like every JRPG has?
Yeah, basically. This character just said, all's well that ends Welsh Corgi.
Oh, no.
And then the partner said, with shorter legs?
Dude,
That's a little weird.
I was a little on the fence about getting these corgis because I didn't get them for a good reason. It's just like, it's a cute dog that I saw in an anime. But
That's a bad reason.
I was 100% correct. Well, I mean, most people get dogs for bad reasons. So, I didn't want a Sheltie. I had Shelties growing up. I didn't think much of them. I mean, I liked the dogs I had, but long hair. They're long haired. They're a little too spazzy. So I was hoping for something a little more manageable. Want small dogs because if there's ever a dispute, I want to be big enough that my survival will never be imperiled by the dog. Let's put it that way. I don't want to.
Was that a big worry of yours?
Yeah, it's not in the top. It's not in the top like 50, but I would rather have small dogs that I can
60
that I can
Canadian,
control.
That's 40.
Is it
US?
40? Is it 40 or 45? Something like that.
44. Yeah.
Okay, it's still good.
Transgate linear bounded phenogram.
I have no idea what that is. Ready to play the anime? Not particularly. I mean, the anime.
So what is this? So this is the game with a 100-page hardcover storyboard collection and a cloth poster. That's
and
it.
Yeah. There's just not much to it. This was not worth a lot of money.
Fans will receive exclusive content Steins Gate linear bound phenogram with the purchase of Steins Gate Elite.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, me either.
But I bought it because I love Steins Gate, and I think I'm going to open this one. It's been sitting on my couch. I've just been too busy to go over and open it.
Go open it. Tell me what it looks like.
I'm not going to open it on because I'd have to turn on the lights and shit. I don't want to do it.
You do that soon.
I'll tell you after the podcast.
All right.
Publisher Forever Entertainment and developer Storm Trident will release Front Mission 2 remake for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC via Steam, the Epic Game Scam, and GOG on April 30th for $35, companies announced. A 10% off discount will be available until July 12th. A demo is now available for PC via Steam. I will very, very happily buy this game when it has a physical version. And then I will probably never open that version and will buy it digitally to actually play that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I bought the.
I too have been kind of wait. Like I got the collector's edition for Rhapsody 1 and 2 a while ago, and I just recently bought a used version of the same fucking game just so I don't have to open my collector's edition.
See, you got the brain rot too.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose. It's just that I let so much time go by.
I mean, I like
for that price. Yeah.
I've accidentally done the same thing with a couple of games, like Soul Hackers 2. I didn't buy that one at launch, but I bought it at a discount. It was like $20-25 when I finally bought it for PlayStation 4, and then like they were selling like PlayStation 5 copies for $5 at GameStop, and I was like, you know what? I already have a PlayStation.
There's a certain threshold for sure.
Yeah. Like, I will buy a PlayStation 5 copy, even though the PlayStation 4 has a free upgrade. Now, I don't have to worry about not having a native access to the PlayStation 5 version. So, you know, I've done stuff like that. I bought the first Front Mission game on Switch, because I really love Front Mission 4, and I'm keen on getting the whole franchise. I hope they remake all of them, but especially 4. I bought it on Switch before they had announced the PlayStation version. Then they announced the PlayStation version. I'm kind of got burnt on that Switch version, so I'm glad that they're just doing all these at once. I hope they do a physical version of Front Mission 2 remake, because I'd love to own all these games physically. But I guess we'll see. I will own all of these games in some. Well, if it's digital, I guess I'm only renting it, but
as with all digital games,
I will have access to all these games. Who knows? Someday I might actually play them. They're not high on my list, but I would like to play the entire Front Mission series because I really enjoyed Front Mission 4, and I'm kind of generously projecting downwards on them. Alright, some of the older news, because I kind of started in the middle for some weird reason. I can't tell you why. It's just the way things happen sometimes. I think I want to get rid of this blue one first. I can't remember how these Michi battles go, but I'm fighting all the Michios. Publishers Sony Interactive Entertainment and developer Shift Up will release a demo for action-adventure game Stellar Blade for PlayStation 5 and PlayStation Store on March 29th. Demo features a portion of the game's... I can't read for some reason right now. Portion of the game's first section, up to the first boss fight, and save data can be transferred to the full game when it launches. I played this. I thought it was fine.
You played the demo?
Yeah, but I'm getting to the point where I just have to admit to myself that I don't really have a taste for games that want me to learn enemies this well and like where a significant amount of those
games.
Basically, well, where a major substance of the gameplay is like doing perfect dodges and parries. I don't have a big appetite for that anymore.
Oh, never play Sekiro.
No, it's not on my list. And never was, because it just didn't look like something for me. But, so I'm kind of not enthused about this. I might grab it for like $20 when it's cheap because I have problems. But I don't know, man. This one, I made the same mistake when it came to Nier Automata, where I just discounted it as a fan service game, and then it ended up having a lot of fan service, but also a really good story.
Well, that was the hope, right?
Well, yeah, that's always the hope. And a banger soundtrack and interesting Nier Automata is just great. This one didn't strike me that much. This one really does seem to be laying way more in the fan service side of things. And whether that's good or not is totally up to you. No judgment. I like fan service just fine in games. I'm playing Like a Dragon. The reason I want to bring this up is apparently we're suffering through a second bout of Gamergate, if you didn't realize. And I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but these people who are complaining about, like, video games getting way worse now, I'm just like, you had Like a Dragon, had fan service in it. You had Final Fantasy VII Rebirth fan service in it.
Wait, Like a Dragon had fan service? Where?
All the female characters had, like, fucking bikinis you could change them into and shit. It's there. I think that counts.
It's been a while.
Uden Chronicle. I'm not Uden Chronicle. Unicorn Overlord. I keep getting the two mixed up in my head. You're gonna tell me that game didn't have fan service?
Those witches need to be like that. You get off their back.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm willing to let the witches jiggle all over the place, but
that most of their power comes from that jiggle.
We have Stellar Blade coming out, in a few weeks, whatever it is. And the fact that anyone can look at the current gaming market, with all the curves and indulgences that are currently within it, and complain about some supposed leftist agenda that is like taking all the sexy out of video games, I don't understand it. You've got to be insane. So... But this apparently is the reality we are in right now. And I've got my own opinions on why this is happening. They're not generous to anyone participating in it in any form, but that's all I wanted. I don't want to get too deep into this, because a lot of it's just fucking online drama, and who gives a shit. But, I don't know how you can look at a game like Stellar Blade and go, well, video... And, like, they're already preemptively saying that the game is going to get review bombed by journalists because it has fan service, a sexy main character. This is not something that happened in Bayonetta. This is not something that happened in Nier Automata. I don't know where they're coming up with this. They insist that gaming journalists rebelled against Nier Automata, and the game has a really high Metascore. Bayonetta 3 has a really high Metascore. None of the games that they are using as examples of left-wing bias against boobies in video games are actually shoring up their opinion, because I don't know, if a game has like an 89, 90, 91 Metascore, I don't think you can say that game journalists didn't like it.
Yeah, usually.
It's weird. Over the past 10 years, how much more I've come to side with, like, the game journalist side of things, as opposed to where I wasn't. And, like, yeah, there's some embarrassing shit that's happened, like that Doom.
Oh, there's
Doom video.
Plenty of embarrassing shit that happens.
Yeah, so I'm not saying like
some of that stuff is their own fault. For like the Cuphead guy, he had every chance in the world not to post that. People, like, why did they post that?
The dude who did Cuphead has no business talking about video. He's like a tech guy, and for some reason ends up delving into the video games. This was the same guy who wrote a review slamming Mass Effect way back in the day because he didn't realize you could assign talent points. So he was like halfway through the game and never spent a talent point and was like, this game's impossible. Same guy who couldn't do a double jump in Cuphead. This is clearly not his field, and I don't know why he ends up doing it, but I guess he's just a general tech writer, and those fields overlap sometimes. Not to excuse him, because I think that's at the point where you deserve ridicule, but I'm just seeing like a lot of these people being hyperbolic and just making shit up that isn't actually true about game journalists. Hey, there's some game journalists that are fucking dumb and dopey, and there have been a lot of bad takes in Kotaku that are obviously just clickbait. You know what? These people feed into it. They feed into it. They want to be victims so bad that they just play right. It's annoying. But I can't remember the order in which I want to kill these robots. It's been so long since I did this last. Oh well. I'll figure it out, probably, maybe.
Perhaps.
It might happen. But, also, I am kind of on the game journalist side of things now, you know. I get these review codes, I get time crunches to do some reviews, it's a thing.
Yeah, but we're not in that same sphere.
I'm closer to that sphere than the outraged incel on Twitter. I understand the pressure, and maybe the industry should be different, because maybe you shouldn't have to write a substantial, lengthy review in a short amount of time. But that's just capitalism, bro. If you've got a problem with anything, your problem isn't with game journalists. Your problem is with capitalism. Hate to tell you, but that's just the fact.
I couldn't even imagine being pressured to write anything for anybody.
Yeah,
I'm such a slacker.
If you don't have to do it, then there's absolutely no reason. Like it's absolutely not worth it.
Yeah, but those aren't the people you want to be doing it either. Like you can tell when somebody has a passion about something.
In an ideal world, the only people. Well, I don't want to say. I was going to say in an ideal world, the only people who would write about this stuff are super fans, but I think that would bias things. And I think sometimes you do want reviews from people who are like not as into it. But you don't want know-nothings who don't want to be there and are, just trying to speed through things to get a review out in time. That's, even if you're a good writer and you have passion for it and you are capable of articulating complex thoughts on the matter, I think that those pressures kill your ability to do anything good. So, but I mean, it's not an ideal world we live in. What do you want me to tell you?
Yep. But hey, question for you out of the blue. Put you on the spot. What's the best ghost ship level in a video game? Go.
You know what? I have no earthly idea. There's one I played in Super Mario RPG. It's not that. I'm trying to think of too many more. Oh, shit. Wasn't there like a ghost ship in Final Fantasy V?
Yeah, probably.
God, I think there was.
I can't remember.
I'm going to go ahead and pretend I know for certain what I'm talking about and say Final Fantasy V.
Alright, I'm going to call you on it.
Because I'm probably wrong. There wasn't a ghost ship in East 8, but there was like undead, right?
There was a ship graveyard, not a ghost ship.
Come on, are we being that granular?
Hey, ghost ships have to have ghosts on them. Just because you forgot what Final Fantasy V has doesn't make you right.
I can't promise that Final Fantasy V had ghosts on it either, honestly. It might have. It might have had ghosts.
It might
I don't
have
know.
had ghosts and it had ships.
It definitely had
did,
ships.
Did those two things ever intersect?
That's the question. That's the question that will haunt me until the end of my
I
days.
remember, like, one of the main characters was that pirate girl, right?
She was awesome. She was
Yeah.
a fun character. I like that party
I don't
dynamic.
remember there being any ghost ships. I remember the ship graveyard now. I remember her pet that pulled the ship because ships couldn't really sail, right? So you're like, how does your ship sail? Oh, I got this giant beast I made friends with years ago that actually pulls the ship.
Because why not?
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Look, you're just mad that you don't have a giant fucking sea turtle that'll pull your shit around.
Listen, I'm sitting here talking with the guy who still hasn't named a ghost ship level.
I did Super Mario RPG, but I don't particularly like that one. But it was definitely a ghost ship level.
One.
I mean, maybe by default, just because I can't remember.
Yeah, that's how it works. Fair enough. That was a very out of the blue question, anyways.
Put me on a spot. I'll do some research. Jesus.
Now that's the whole point of being put on a spot. Okay, you can do one now. Go ahead.
All right. You can only keep 3 companies. Rockstar, From Software, Naughty Dog, Santa Monica, Insomniac, Capcom, Konami, Sega, BioWare, Bethesda, CD Projekt, or Bungie. Which 3 are you keeping?
Oh Jesus, that's a long fucking list to remember.
Yeah, I'll get you. I'll get you an image.
You didn't say Sucker Punch at all, did you?
No, I'll get you an image.
How you gonna say Insomniac without saying Sucker Punch?
I didn't make the meme. It's a meme.
Okay, I'm pretty sure From Software is gonna make the cut just because I've enjoyed
you're terrible.
Several Souls games in the past.
Disgusting.
That's all it takes.
You know what? I would kill one of my favorite companies to also kill FromSoft.
You sending me a picture or something? You said?
Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm sending you the right thing. New computers. There's some things I'm working through still. Like it saves things in a weird place. It saves them all into downloads instead of putting them right on my desktop where I'm used to. There, you can only save 3.
You can only keep 3. Oh, well, Konami's straight out.
Well, I don't think you're losing anything with them.
Yeah, not losing much.
You're losing bad remasters.
Bungie, I don't care about. Rockstar, what? Am I going to miss their 4th release of Grand Theft Auto 5?
They're one game every 10 years.
Yeah, I'm going to miss out on one pretty good game every 10 years or so. Sega, I don't...
Atlas goes with Sega.
I feel like... Oh, Atlas goes with Sega?
Their own...
Does it really?
They're a subsidiary, so you can't get rid of one without the other.
Oh yeah, well that keeps... you know what, that keeps Sega in.
You want to keep Sega in just for... Like a Dragon and Yakuza?
Are they making those? I don't think they're making those, are they?
Well, RGG is... Sega's publishing them.
Yeah, as a publisher they're really good, but are they actually making anything?
I don't know. You can't just discount them as a publisher.
Yeah, but somebody else would publish those games.
You assume.
I assume.
You assume they also wouldn't allow the same freedoms.
I think I'd be fairly right. You know what? I'm gonna make it just easy. Capcom, Sega, From Software.
I went Capcom, Sega, CD Projekt.
Yeah, it's pretty close. I think a few of these are pretty, like, I'd want to keep Insomniac around if I could, for sure.
Capcom is just, they're so good. They're so fucking good right now.
Yeah, and they have all these series. They have all this history. But they're going to keep doing stuff.
So here's oh, go on.
I wouldn't put another Mega Man title past them.
I mean, it might take them 15 years, but yeah, maybe. So this is kind of tangential to this, but CD Projekt put out a snippy little post about how their next game, IOU 1 RPG, will not have microtransactions in it. They're throwing shade on Dragon's Dogma 2. Fair enough. They're saying that single player RPGs shouldn't have microtransactions in them. I agree. But
thing is popular.
I also think that single player RPGs should be finished at launch. And I'm not really sure that CD Projekt is in a position to be throwing shade at anyone, considering where they are in the industry at this moment. I want to really defend Capcom because, like, they do shitty stuff. And they've done shitty stuff for a long time. And they just cannot help but put extraneous multiplayer modes and microtransactions in games that they just don't belong in. Now, granted, their games are really good, and this shit never matters. Like, I'm not going to say they're pulling an Ubisoft, because they're not. They're categorically just not. You never need any of their stuff, and I almost think that makes it worse. Like, it's a stupid tax. If you buy any microtransactions...
Well, it's unappealing to see at the very least.
No, it's absolutely... But I think it's almost more egregious because, again, you never need to buy any of this stuff. It's not like, the double XP boost that actually does make Assassin's Creed Odyssey an easier game to play through. I know you didn't have it, so I don't know if you have a different opinion, but I thought...
Yeah, I thought Odyssey was fine, I guess.
I think people overhype this stuff. Like, its negative impact, but...
Origin was better because it was shorter and more condensed.
Yeah, Origin was definitely better. Origin's the best Ubisoft game that Ubisoft has made in a long time.
Yeah, I enjoy the stupidness of the Far Cry games quite a bit.
I mean, yeah, but I'd take Origin over every Far Cry game. Maybe not Far Cry 4, because that one got Pagan and fucking so good.
I liked 5 quite a bit.
I never made my way all the way through that one, so I can't really weigh in too much. But
go get yourself the animals first, that's for sure.
I feel that I've encountered a lot of weird CD Projekt fanboyism recently, and it is mind-boggling to me that people are trying to rewrite history when it comes to Cyberpunk. I was a big CD Projekt fan.
Oh yeah, you were trying to get me to play OG Cyberpunk the other day, saying I didn't review things.
I think you need to do that just because it's so bad. I think you should actually do
700 plus reviews. You don't get to say I don't review things.
You don't review things properly, and if you don't play original Cyberpunk and write a review for it and then write another review for
I am
new
one
Cyberpunk,
man.
You're one man who has an unlimited amount of time. Just sign another fucking deal with the devil, sell one of your kids' souls to get the time to play this.
I've already sold all 3 of them.
Well, okay, Sprocket's up. But,
let's not go crazy.
I played this game at launch, and it was a piece of shit.
That's the reason I never played it.
I played the PS4 version, or PlayStation 4 version on PlayStation 5, so I didn't play the absolute, doldrums of this. I actually give it a little bit of benefit because I didn't have to play the most absolutely miserable version of this game possible. But it was still a piece of shit. Even if you get over the technical performance, which I will not, and people can make the excuse, well, maybe it shouldn't have launched on last gen. Okay, fact is, it did. Someone made the business decision. They're going to launch this game on a console that maybe shouldn't fucking be able to play it. Then again, I don't really buy that because there are actual competent developers out there who are able to produce masterpieces of coding. They're able to put magnificent shit out on consoles. This is also the same company that put The Witcher 3 on Switch, for fuck's sakes. So I don't know why we're, pretending that they're these poor beleaguered incompetents that just couldn't manage to get this game. No, they were incompetent. They released a shit product. They sent PC codes out exclusively because they knew. They knew how shit this game was on PlayStation, and they were trying to hide it. That is about as scummy behavior as you can get from a company.
Yep, agreed.
And then years later, after they had started to turn opinions around about the game, they'd fixed it a little bit, you have one of the executives saying that people were just jumping on the hate bandwagon. No! They were jumping on the this game fucking sucks bandwagon because that game fucking sucked. So, I'm not super keen on CD Projekt right now, and I don't know what inspires people to make excuses for this company that just pissed down their back and told them it was raining. Like, I guess it's the difference between being a fan and a fanboy, because I hold grudges. I take shit personally when companies that I like, that produce things that I enjoy, fail to live up to my expectations. It's not like I have the highest expectations. Just, don't scam people. Pretty nice one. If your game needs another year to cook because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, say, we're kind of incompetent. This is going to take long.
Could you imagine a studio coming out? Like, you know what would have been fantastic?
I would have...
No Man's Sky people coming out and being like, yeah, we're kind of bit off more than we can chew. Give us another year. We got the money for that.
Wouldn't you respect that a lot more, though?
Yeah, it'd be fantastic.
So, I just... Stop fluffing CD Projekt. They are a multi-billion-dollar company who is willing to deceive consumers, and they just don't deserve that kind of praise. Don't pretend Okay. Real objective way to sort this. Go look at the patch notes for Cyberpunk. Look at all the shit they've changed. So there's like 30 patches. They've changed thousands of things. From this quest doesn't work to every single RPG mechanic in the game has been overhauled because it was unbalanced and stupid. So, if you want it straight from the horse's mouth, look at their patch notes to see how incompetent they were and how much they had to change this game post-launch to get it in a playable state. I'm not saying that I'm not like hyped for The Witcher 4. I'm looking forward to it, but maybe CD Projekt, don't talk shit about another company, especially one that's been absolutely banging them out like Capcom, until you've, released a feature-complete, stable launch of a single-player game.
Have they ever?
CD Projekt?
Yeah. Because they had to do it with The Witcher 1.
No, Witcher 2 was fine. Witcher 2 was...
They had to change something to
Witcher 2 was not as... Okay. The worst thing they did with The Witcher 2 is they actually went back and they had DRM on it. And they had to eventually take that off, and I think that should have been a bigger scandal given who CD Projekt is, given that they own GOG, and their big thing is
bad.
Their big thing is we don't put DRM on our games.
Witcher 2 is the closest.
Witcher 2 is the closest. Witcher 3, I didn't have that many issues with.
Witcher 3, they had to release the patch pretty quickly afterwards to fix some of the stuff.
Well, yeah, like a lot of games are just going to have bugs. The Witcher 3 didn't have anything nearly as unplayable. I wrote a guide for it day of, and I didn't have that many problems with The Witcher 3. They released a lot of quality of life stuff that made it more difficult for you to, fuck up collecting all the Gwent cards and stuff. But a lot of that wasn't strictly necessary. Like, you play a JRPG, they're not giving you that shit ever. So...
But they always do, a huge overhaul patch.
So, they did have to patch... I mean... A lot of the stuff for The Witcher 3, though, was just improvements.
But Witcher 1, they gave out, free I'm sorry copies.
They gave
free I'm sorry content?
They gave away the Enhanced Edition, I think, for free. Because... but they didn't need to do that. The game was functional. They just... You know what it is?
Well, we played the Enhanced Edition.
We played the Enhanced Edition. What it was is... I honestly think that... that was their first... single solo game where they, because before that they'd just been making ports of BioWare games in the Polish language. The Witcher 1 was the first game they made themselves on the Aurora engine, which was the ancient shitty engine that was used on Neverwinter Nights of all fucking things. And I think they just kind of, after they released the game and made some money, I think they kind of were like, you know what? We have the technical skill and the money to increase these production values, so instead of having our characters stand there stiffly while you talk to them, let's go back in and give them more idle animations and make it look like they're talking more. That's a lot of the stuff they fixed in The Witcher 1, where they just kind of added, they kind of turned it from a pseudo AAA game from people that were trying really hard but really didn't have it to something that was more passable as a respectable AAA game. That was kind of the thing that happened with The Witcher 1. So, I mean, yeah, all these big RPGs are going to have patches, but Cyberpunk is completely different in terms of...
I gotta get to bed here soon. Let's wrap it up.
All right, we only got 2 more news stories to go. Microsoft bought a bunch of companies, and like all corporations, they're run by morons who only care about short-term profits, so they killed 8% of their gaming jobs, 1,900 jobs out of 22,000. Now Phil Spencer, who is always lying, I want to point that out, claims that, quote, a lack of industry growth was forcing publicly traded companies across the industry to cut costs. This is a quote from Phil Spencer. I'll say the thing that has me most concerned about the industry is the lack of growth. And when you have an industry that is projected to be smaller next year in terms of players and dollars, and you get a lot of publicly traded companies that are in the industry and have to show their investors growth, because why else does somebody own a share of something stock that's not going to grow? The side of the business that then gets scrutinized is the cost side, because if you're not going to grow the revenue side, the cost side becomes challenged. You answered the question yourself right there, Phil. Shareholders are the fucking problem with this industry. And the model of infinite year-over-year growth is not sustainable. So I just want you to point out this quote. Complete passive voice. Microsoft never did anything wrong. The industry just didn't grow somehow. No one's fault. Somehow, for some reason, they spent $80 billion, and the industry just never got bigger. It's not any C-suite decisions, like focusing on shit live service games or letting Starfield and Redfall be the 2 flop exclusives for your hardware. Got to keep those investors happy, though. And, of course, none of the people that are getting a haircut on the cost side of things are the people getting multi-million-dollar salaries and making these decisions that cause a lack of growth. It's never C-suite that are losing their jobs over this shit. So I just wanted to air that out and spit some venom at Phil Spencer, who is a complete piece of shit. He's not your buddy. He doesn't intend anything good for the gaming industry. He will not make anything better. I really want people, if they take nothing away from this podcast besides this guy's an asshole, is Phil Spencer is a prick and you shouldn't trust him. He's not on your side.
I don't know anybody who would think he was, though, to be fair.
Dude, go online and fucking see these Xbox fans.
Hard to believe.
Action RPG Neptunia game maker RE Evolution, whatever it is, will launch for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and Switch, both physically and digitally on May 14th in the West. Publisher Idea Factory International announced it will feature English and Japanese voiceovers with English, French, and Spanish subtitles. Limited edition includes an official hardcover art book, an official soundtrack, 2 cloth posters, steel game case, reversible cover sleeve, collector's box, and an exclusive trading card. Whether the game's actually good or not, it's probably going to be okay. Maybe it might be trending more towards mediocre, might be trending more towards good, but this is kind of the standard that this company has set. So I don't think they've ever produced anything that's like must play banger, but generally their stuff is okay. And last news story. Oh, I hope I didn't just read the wrong thing. Okay, right. More Phil Spencer. When you're done blaming nebulous market conditions for your shitty business moves, be sure to find some time to also blame the kids. Xbox boss Phil Spencer said ballooning development budgets were making exclusives harder to justify. He said it can cost $300 million to build a video game. Right there. Stop right there. No, it doesn't. Stop spending that much fucking money on a video game. If you have to cut the graphics a bit to make the shit affordable, then maybe you as a business mode, have to cut the graphics.
You think that Octopath Traveler 2 cost $300 million to make?
No.
Bestseller?
I don't think Baldur's Gate 3 costs $300 million. Maybe $100 million. But if you can't develop a AAA game for $100 million, you need to fire some management, and then you need to rejig your concept of what this game should be. Because it should not cost $300 million to make a fucking AAA game. And the case for exclusivity gets pressured as the cost of the game goes up, Spencer also said. A bid to stay relevant with younger consumers was contributing to the decision to make more Xbox games available on as many platforms as possible. Quote, this notion that Xbox can only be this one device that plugs into the television isn't something we see in the Gen Z research because nothing else is like that for them. He said, some of them will have an iPhone, some will have Android, but all the games and everything is the same. I can still get to TikTok on both of them, at least for now. All of their stuff is available wherever they want. So for Xbox, our brand pivot, as we attract and maintain relevance with a younger audience, is Xbox the place where I can find the great games I want to. I mean, funny, no other company seems to be having this problem, but whatever. It's a Microsoft thing, right? I will say that there's another thing that the younger generation is turning into, and I know that we're both practically boomers now. We're getting near 40.
Yeah, I'm old as hell, yeah.
Like, I'm a month away from 39. So, this is just getting outrageous here. The younger audience is turning to retro games, believe it or not. And there was a lot of commentary online for why so many kids are getting into retro games. By retro games, I hate to say this to you, but a lot of the times they mean shit like PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. That's retro now, Greg. God damn it! I remember buying some of these games in store at launch.
I miss those days. I should have bought twice as much as I did.
Yeah, I agree. I remember being in college, and I went between classes. I had like an hour break between one of my classes. I went to the GameStop down the street after one of my classes. I bought Fable 2. I put it in my backpack. I finished my school day with this thing in my backpack, and then I went back home and I played Fable 2. Okay. Anyways,
well, I just miss going to retro gaming stores and buying like fucking inbox copies of Castlevania for reasonable prices.
So maybe it isn't the kids just not wanting to play on dedicated hardware. Maybe it's just that maybe there's an appeal to older games that newer games don't have, and I'll leave that blank for what that appeal might be. Feature complete at launch, no microtransactions, no live service. All right, but that's all the news for the 3G podcast. I'm glad we got that out of the way, so we didn't have like a third week of shit on there. So I'm gonna go let Greg get some sleepy sleep, and I will get to work and keep adding software and signing into shit on this PC. So we are up and running by the time I need to start a new project. I'll do it for episode 388 of the 3G podcast. Until next time, see y'all later.
Okay, I shall go sleep. Bye, everybody.